Kimi is a relationship coach. She works with successful, intelligent women who struggle with chronic relationship problems, frustrations, and hopelessness that stop them from experiencing love fully and creating the future they desire. Kimi will give you the tools for a lifetime of love. She is a current vice president of membership and past president of Heart to Heart Toastmasters Club in Oakland. The title of the speech is Me, a Leader? Please welcome Kimi Avary. Welcome, Kimi.
I was about 3 years old when I learned to be quiet. Don't speak, don't play, don't get loud, don't express yourself. I'd been dancing around the apartment with bouncing off the walls, singing, laughing, having a great time. And my father couldn't handle it. He got really violent. And I remember waking up in my room crying, and the room was dark. I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And finally, my father came in and promised me he'd never hit me again. Wow. I learned that lesson. Don't speak. Don't be loud. Don't play. Don't express yourself. I'm Kimi Avary, and I'm a relationship coach. I've been studying love and relationships my entire life. I've always wanted to have love and have an amazing experience and also help others to do the same. But I was quiet. In high school, I was never the person to raise my hand. I never volunteered for dancing or singing or being in musicals or singing in the choir. Well, I did sing in the choir. And one day, the choir director said, "You need to do a solo." I was at church. I loved being spiritual. I loved that experience. But man, to sing in front of people, you see, the choir was tucked in the corner of the church. So I wasn't in front of a lot of people. But this time he asked me to sing in public. And I did it with my eyes closed, and I was terrified. I didn't volunteer again. I still hid myself. I still didn't speak in public. And then I became a massage therapist after high school. And my friends and colleagues would say things like, "You've got to speak in public to get clients." Oh, no, 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 no. That was not going to be my path. So I had a little ad in the phone book back then. I put ads in the newspaper and I got clients, but I really never got my business off the ground because I wasn't speaking publicly. A friend of mine offered to have me do a presentation at one of his business investor meetings, and I was terrified. By this time, I'd learned neuro-linguistic programming. I started studying that in 1995, and I became an NLP master practitioner and trainer. So here I was about, I hadn't become a trainer yet, but I wanted to grow my coaching slash massage practice. And he'd given me this opportunity to speak in public to his group. Not an unkind group, actually rather a friendly group. But I remember getting in front of those people and feeling like an ice cube. I was sweating. I couldn't remember a word that I was supposed to say. It was nauseating being in front of people. I knew I needed to speak, and I was terrified. In 1999, I asked a friend of mine to guide me through some coaching to try to get over my fear of speaking. And she took me into the past, the far, far past. I'm not sure if you believe in past lives. I certainly didn't. I could be a metaphor, it could be real experiences. I don't know. But in this experience, I was burned at the stake for speaking out. I was stoned to death for speaking out. And the perpetrator in those memories or metaphors in my mind was my father. I started realizing that my life experience was to overcome this fear of being seen. Oh boy, that was not what I wanted to hear. And I began to explore little by little. Friends of mine said, join Toastmasters. It'll be good for you. No way was I going to join Toastmasters. No way was I going to join Toastmasters. They're critical. They're going to tell me what I did wrong. Look, I can barely get in front of people and speak, much less join Toastmasters and be evaluated. Oh my God, the horrors. So, knowing that I needed to speak, I ended up in front of in a group with Lee Glickstein of Speaking Circles in 2004. And he taught me to stand in front of the audience, look around, make eye contact with this person and that person and that person, and breathe, and then speak. That really changed a tremendous amount. And I took speaker training after speaker training. And really, all of this was ignited because I'd taken a workshop in 2005, 4 or 5, about men and women and the differences that make things go wrong and what you could do about it. The first day of that training, I said to the trainer, I want to do what you do. I learned that men and women are so different, we'd be better off if we actually spoke different languages, because then we wouldn't think we were communicating. It blew my mind. Blew my mind. It made it possible for me to meet and marry my husband and stay married for 15 years. We've been together 19. And I can guarantee that would not have happened had I not learned these distinctions. In this process, I knew I needed to speak. So I paid tons and tons and tons of money to speakers trainings. I practiced being on stage, and I got better and better at it. But I wasn't getting the regular training, because when you do a speaker's training for a weekend, then you have to find places to practice speaking. Well, I didn't have that. So I needed to find places to speak. And then my friend Michelle Petacola from one of my speakers trainings said, why don't you join Toastmasters? And I went, oh boy, no. And she goes, Kimi, it would really help you. Okay, so I signed up. I went to my first meeting and I heard some evaluations, and they weren't critical. They were helpful and encouraging. They gave me guidelines on how to do things better. I thought, wow, that's cool. That was in 2016. I practiced because going to meetings once a month, and now we actually have meetings twice a month at Heart to Heart, I was able to sign up and speak regularly. And one of the ways you get good at speaking is to practice regularly. So I had a venue to do that. And in 2020, I was president of Heart to Heart Toastmasters. Would I have thought that that was my journey? No. But one of the things Toastmasters offers is all of these fantastic ways to develop your leadership skills. Forbes magazine calls Toastmasters a way to get your MBA. It's got all these skill sets: secretary, president, membership, PR, all of these things that you can do to develop yourself. And I was president. at the beginning of COVID. And we took our club from an in-person club, like everybody else was, and immediately switched it to Zoom. We mastered the technology and started having Zoom meetings. And that kept me sane during COVID to have these opportunities. We also did a video newsletter. We rallied the team to keep our mission going forward, to help people speak authentically and from the heart. And in our club, we speak about things that are important to us. It can be a passion project, or it can be for your job. One of our members is how do I say this? She brings money into nonprofit organizations. She's a fundraiser professionally, so she talks about how to do that. Other members talk about healing from cancer, or me, I talk about my relationships. We always bring our own themes into the meetings. Everybody has leadership within them. You might be like me and didn't know that you did. I never in high school signed up for being on the leadership team. I never ran for office. Like, who, me? Well, all the while throughout my life, I had this little part of me inside of me that had a voice, but I couldn't even hear it because of a fear. And what I've learned is that by practicing your speaking, by developing your speaking topics, and by stepping into the leadership that you were meant to be, you naturally are a leader. It's innate in you. And maybe you have to develop skills like I did, but it doesn't mean that you won't or can't or shouldn't share a message that's deep within you. I think the world needs more leaders right now. I think the world needs people who are capable of sharing positive messages. Don't you? In a world that's really divided right now, Toastmasters is an opportunity to help people develop their vision and mission and the words to share with the world that inspire people to action. That's what I did in my work, is I inspire people to action, to have great relationships. I inspire people to action, to choose to be kind, to choose love, to rise above our instinctual differences of the masculine and feminine, so that you can bring light and love to the world. I help you create a divine relationship with yourself and others. That's my mission. What's yours? How can you use Toastmasters to augment your world, your reality, touch the hearts and minds of the people around you? How can you do that? Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.